For the most part, I feel like these people are harmless, bro. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of, you know, mixing it up with the
Where do you
drugs.
put folks like this? What do you do with guys like that?
Man, it's hard, bro, because you go to the hospital and they'll kick you back. If you don't say you're suicidal, they're kicking you back out on the streets.
It feels almost like we're watching the decay of America in slow motion. I mean, we're this rich, prosperous country, but we have these cities with all these addicts on the street. We have abandoned buildings with wooden boards over the windows. It's almost embarrassing because when most countries think of America, they don't think of this.
Everybody says we want to help addicts, we want to do this. And me opening sober homes, I found this firsthand until it goes into your neighborhood. Then we want money for addiction, just not in my backyard.
All my life I was told to do right. Stick around by my side if they want to test my life. Yeah, street kid, I was shopping long nights on the weekend. Shorty on me all night.
Everybody, it's your boy Big Luke. I got my guy with me,
Ronnie Blue Eyes.
Bounce Back TV. This is the Scandalous World Podcast. We're doing some reactions today. So why don't you tell the people what we're getting into today, bro?
We're going to be getting right into this video with Tommy G visiting the city of Boston. Let's get right into it.
Let's go.
We've seen this situation spiral out of control during the past 5 years. It's a complex problem, and the city's plan isn't working. It's impacting businesses, residents, and the hundreds here on the streets.
Seeing this just makes me so sad. And when you're using, you don't realize it. It really opens your eyes to just how bad it really is.
That's really zombie land. Nothing but zombies walking around. That's really their world over there. You ever hit Mass Ave? That's Geeker land.
I just wanted to stop the video real quick, kind of give people an idea. Methadone Mile is a place where a bunch of addicts hang out. They kind of have free reign. Yeah. And so I guess before we get in this video, I guess I just want to, say a little prayer for those struggling in addiction, So, I say, may God have their back and hopefully they could get out of their addiction and not go, and not pass away. Definitely. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't make it out of their lives. So I just want to thoughts and prayers go to everybody out there struggling in addiction.
Yeah, and this is a infamous area for those that don't know. Mass and Cass, aka Methadone Mile, that whole area is just full of a lot of homeless people, a lot of addicts, a lot of alcoholics, and it's treacherous and it's unfortunate, but we're gonna see a lot. We're gonna get into it right here.
So why don't you just tell the people who may not be familiar with the content creator here, Tommy G? Why don't you tell the people a little bit about him and what it is he does?
Big shout outs to Tommy G. Basically, he goes all around different states, if you will, different hoods, different cities, and he highlights what's going on. I've seen him do all kinds of videos, but I'm just glad to see him in Boston, coming to Massachusetts and highlighting this because a lot of these people really need help,
Absolutely. And I don't think we got enough people that know what's going on over here, good and bad. We got a lot going on, and it's good to, that someone like Tommy G could get some national exposure and people looking at this city. And you'll see when we get into it. Let's go.
Big shout out to Tommy G. Salute.
100.
Sold alive my first total crack. Imagine that. When karma attacks, you allow your pregnant girlfriend to go and lay on her back.
So that rapper right there is the guy Exit Fame.
Salute.
Rapper out of Roxbury section of Boston. And I saw he's been doing a lot of things, a lot of freestyles. He was on the radar. He got some features. I think he had he got some big features out there. OT the Rail.
Big shout out to the homie. Look at homeboy leaning.
Lean with it, rock with it. Let's go. Shout out to Exit Fame.
Detoxing them cold shakes. Man, it made my soul break. Rotten teeth. I can see my skull in my own face.
Right here was showing through my skin. I got started when I was 10. By 12, I was smoking crack.
Imagine that. How young is that? I didn't even start smoking weed till I was 10. 12,
bro. I was about 13. 11. I was, selling weed, smoking weed. 12, 13, started getting into the heavier shit. But it's kind of common in the area. But to be indulging in it, that's crazy. That's different,
Absolutely.
Crazy.
You got to wonder what kind of environment that somebody grows up in when they're 10 years old and you're smoking crack. I mean, that's crazy.
Been doing dope.
I've been selling drugs since I was 12.
These people are people. Some of these are the nicest, greatest people. They just had really bad trauma or really bad losses in life or just bad luck.
It's a demon. He's one hard motherfucker cast away.
So I guess for people who don't know, right, about methadone is something that people use to come off of harder drugs,
right,
like the H and the Fetty,
right.
and
But
it keeps them
unfortunately,
clean. But yeah,
unfortunately, they usually mix it with benzos like Xanax or Clonopin, and that's how you have a lot of people overdose. I even lost a few friends like that. My cousin Robbie, rest in peace, Robbery. But that's what usually happens. They might start with the heroin or the Fetty, but they're still mixing other pills and other things with the methadone, and immediately they start gaining weight. You can see it in their face. You know what I mean? So like Suboxones could keep you sober. Methadone could keep you sober off the heroin, but if you're mixing it with pills like Xanax and benzos, that's a bad recipe for disaster. That's death right there. That's death.
absolutely, man. So there's the Boston Medical Center down there, methadone clinic. I mean, you kind of get the gist
Straight
of it.
up.
Then people started hanging
Line
out
up.
there.
Yeah.
You know, it starts probably just a few people
They line
hanging.
up every morning.
People trading off whatever medications they may have and stuff. There's actually
it's a
people
zoo.
they
It's a
hustle down
zoo.
there dressed as addicts, and
Facts.
it's just crazy out there. So
yeah.
Perhaps no place in America better exemplifies the opioid epidemic than Boston's Methadone Mile. Each morning, hundreds of addicts line up at methadone clinics to get their dose, hoping today won't be the day that they relapse. In the 90s, Big Pharma flooded the market with pain pills, getting millions hooked and walking away with billions in profit, all while facing little to no consequences. But the aftermath of what they did is still visible in the streets of Boston today. In this open-air drug market, crack, fentanyl, meth, and xylazine habits are as cheap as a few dollars a day.
xylazine, like crazy. They got all this new stuff. That's insane.
And here in these streets, people are trapped in a grim and brutal cycle of addiction. In this story, we'll peel back the layers, speaking to people from Harvard doctors to people selling crack, and from the addicts fighting for survival to those who have escaped their addiction.
Hey, shout out the guy Mathematics right there.
Shout out to Mathematics. I was just saying there's going to be a lot of people that we notice and that are familiar in this video, but shout out to the whole city of Boston and the whole state of Mass, man. Shout out to all New England. Stand
Absolutely.
up.
Mathematics, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Make sure you go check out the interview that just dropped that he did with the W Number podcast.
Bridge.
Check that out. I also have an older
Magic.
interview with him too on the Bounce Back, man. And yeah, he's a very articulate dude, which you're probably about to see, man.
Now work to help others. Furthermore, we aim to uncover the deeper question of how Methadone Mile came to be. As we unravel this mystery, we'll reveal how a single failed infrastructure project may be a key factor behind the hundreds now living in the streets of Boston. Welcome to the side of Boston you've never seen before. This episode is brought to you by today's sponsor, BetterHelp. I've had the opportunity to interview everyone from Bill. And by night, he's an artist. He's a rapper. He's actually on tour right now. Nice to meet you, man. So it's interesting to parallel the history, how it weaves and ebbs and flows. The first guy we're going to meet with is a guy by the name of Eric, who also goes by his rapper name, Exit Fame. By day, he's a recovery specialist that helps people navigate their own addiction and get better. And by night, he's an artist. He's a rapper. He's actually on tour right now. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. Welcome, guys. Good.
What this area, this is what they call.
It's so good to see, because I ask people this question a lot too. Like, it's one thing to get your life together, right? But then it's like, once people do that, I'm always interested in why they want to give back, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, they want to give back afterwards
I respect
instead
the
of
hustle,
just
man. He's helping people by day and then still doing his dream at night, still rapping, following his goal. So big shout out, man. Salute.
I don't think people understand the fulfillment and purpose that comes with the feeling of helping other people. You know what I mean? But you got to make sure you get your
It's
first
crazy,
self.
bro. I've done so much wrong in my lifetime and so much bad things in this world. But when I first started to give back and change my life, I raised $7,000 at a tattoo shop I was working at for autism awareness, and we gave it to a local family, and I ended up in the on the front of the cover of the paper, and nothing made me feel like more better, like nothing made me, no words could express the way I felt.
Yeah.
All the bad I've ever done, I did that just out of straight up the kindness of my heart, I didn't even know the reward I was gonna get in return. And it felt amazing, and it actually changed my life. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's good stuff, bro. I didn't know that, man. Good shit.
Thank you.
All did Mass Ave, Mass and Cass, Methadone Mile. This is a halfway house right here. It houses like 90 guys. A lot of craziness happens in there. I've been to a lot of halfway houses myself. I've been out here, stuff like that. But
yeah, big shout out to everybody working in recovery. Now I think about it, I feel like I know a lot of people, and that's a very important thing, man. Big shout out to all of y'all, man. For sure.
some of these people I know, like my guy right there. What up, dude? What up? What up, man?
Not much. What are you up to?
We're actually doing a documentary on this area, but I know everybody don't want to be filmed. You know, might have a couple bucks for you. Meet me around the corner.
That's the thing too. I like what he said about not everybody wants to be filmed. So I just want people to be like cognizant too, man. If you're gonna film somebody at their worst, you know what I mean? Just I guess be aware of that, man, and think how would you want somebody to treat you if you were going through a hard time, or even a family member.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I have a lot of friends and family that struggle with addiction, and it really hit. It resonated with me when you brought that up, because we were considering doing this video. I was considering doing something like this, maybe potentially with Tommy G at the time. And when you and I spoke about it, I really respected what you said, and it really resonated with me. And I lost my brother, I lost my cousin, I lost a lot of loved ones behind this, and I know a lot of people out there struggling. So it don't seem fair to go out there and put them on camera at their worst. You know what I mean? We like to highlight them at their best. But if any good could come from this and somebody could get some help, then I think it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even because people might even see how bad somebody looks, and it may remind them of how bad they were at one point, and then it just like that keeps it fresh in the head. Like, okay, I got to stay away from that. So
everybody out there struggling, everybody on Mass Ave, everybody out there in the world, man, just keep your head up and keep going. Things will get better.
Let's get into it.
Where do you want me to go?
Go to the gas station. Not everybody can come out here. You know what I mean?
Bottles chucked in our car if it was just us here.
Yeah.
How long have you been sober for?
5 years.
What did it take to get clean?
A lot of pain.
It's crazy because I'm a recovery coach with Gavin now. I'm working in Beth Israel hospitals. I came from circumstances, man, where I was a follower. You know what I mean? Being a follower, it put me in situations where 17 years of my life in prisons, DYS, you know what I mean?
Without Eric with us, we would have gotten a very aggressive response. I mean, these are people that are suffering in a very difficult part of their life. But because Eric was such a well-respected and known figure in the area, when they saw Eric, they wanted to come by and share their story.
And I think that's better than if he just pulled out a camera. Exactly. You know what I mean? You got somebody from the city
and
that was actually out there. Too,
it's not checking in. It's respect. It's common courtesy. You know what I mean? And it's the right way to move if you know how to move, especially out here in these streets. So shout out to Tommy G.
Absolutely. And people who know him, they'll be more comfortable speaking to him. You know what I mean? As opposed to just a stranger. So
it's dangerous.
I like the way they went
there,
about
just
it.
Going to random hood. You just can't do it. You're gonna need a chaperone. Let's keep it a buck, you know.
Well, especially in an environment like that.
Of course. They got nothing to lose, right?
It's I heard it's wild out there. It's like the Wild West.
Combat zone.
What happened to your hand, man?
Xylazine.
Yeah?
Yeah. It literally eats like the tissue. It's supposed to like mimic.
I don't know much about it. Is it what kind?
I have no idea, bro.
Is it like a crystal high or like okay? If anybody knows, you can drop it in the comment. What's going? What is
time I ever even heard of it was when I first seen this video.
Yeah, crazy.
But it just looks treacherous.
It sounds like a chemical that we use to clean surfaces before we waterproof them. Xylene. So it sounds like that stuff you don't even want to touch your skin. So I don't know what that type of stuff is going on. Xylazine.
But yo, they'll do what you know how it go when they're out there. You know, they're at their worst or they're strung out, whatever. At that point, they'll do anything to make the pain go away or whatever, not be sick or whatever. Sometimes they're just hopeless.
God bless.
Benzos.
What happens when you do benzos?
I black out and I pick up charges.
You like to?
They call them like little indictments in a pill right there. Those
my
things.
father calls them felony pills.
I can see why. Yeah, those things.
He's like, yo, I used to wake up in a cell and not even know how I got here, what I did to get here.
It's scary.
The benzos, yeah.
It's scary. I look at it. It's almost like getting blackout drunk, but without the you're not
Like,
as sloppy.
right, you're not as
You know what I'm
reckless,
saying?
yeah,
Like your
yeah.
body isn't. Your
Facts.
mind is, but your body isn't. It seems. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I haven't. Oh, I'll stay away from those things, bro. When I was a teenager, man, I got stories, but that's a whole different episode.
Fight when you're on benzo?
No, I like to steal things. I'll wake up like 3-4 days later going, what happened?
In the midst of Methadone Mile, you got business owners, people living here, people that are just fighting to survive, pay rent, pay the energy bill, and have to live with hundreds and hundreds of users all around them. And so we're actually going into an auto shop to talk to people about what it's like conducting business.
Every day you get like 2-3 boosters trying to come and sell me stuff. They'll steal it from like the local South Bay over there. It was a fentanyl deal that got arrested right in front of us right here. That happens at least like twice a month, to be honest. I've actually caught a lot of people using the bathroom here, taking shits outside right there. I had to like clean that up. It's pretty dirty. That is human shit, yeah. I'd say on a week we get at least like 2 cars breaking into so they can sleep in there. For example, I got that car.
Not for nothing, that's one of my biggest complaints about being in public. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I feel like I gotta take a lot more leaks. But it's like, unless you could go into there's nowhere to use the bathroom in public outside unless you go into an establishment and then you gotta buy something.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, so
gentrification is real. It's crazy.
They should be putting
Imagine
like
them,
porta
porta
potties.
potty. Yeah, they
something.
got nowhere to go. They're homeless. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
But then that brings the issue
the
too.
same-
You don't know if someone's dead in there. So
Yeah,
I don't know,
but
man.
At the same time, it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there with a broken window. Obviously it's a junk car, but they still broke the window and they sleep inside the car and stuff. So I had this dude, he used to work for us, he used to like help us sweep up. So one time I gave him my car to go basically get a part from the parts store down the street. The car keys had the keys to the shop. Me, I wasn't thinking that he would go to Home Depot and copy the key, which is exactly what he did. He came in with that copied key, stole the whole shop, basically robbed it all. Robbed TVs, even robbed the vehicle that was in here. You can see like what a mess it was, honestly. There was like pipes on the ground. There was I'd say at least like 10 needles, to be honest, because he came with like at least 4 people.
So you try to employ people from the area?
Yeah.
And
try to help them, but yeah.
Would you do it again?
No.
Well, we've been in a couple facilities together. You know, we was
I mean, it's tough because I see he's trying to help somebody, but people aren't ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People aren't ready to help
Not
themselves.
everybody can be
but
helped. And,
that's what's up, though, that he
can't
tried to
save
help
everyone, but trying is, at least gave it a shot.
Yeah, that's a good soul right there. We need more people like that. But unfortunately, that happens, and he tries, and then the people who he hired, they set a bad example, and now he might not do it again.
And that's that's the point. It brings me to the point where it's like, one person can fuck it up for everybody.
Yep.
And that's what it seems like happening.
Absolutely.
So hopefully his good heart don't get sullied by this cold world, and he can continue to be who he is and do what he does.
Absolutely.
the treatment like 2019, 2018, been with him, but he's a good dude. My man cleans up nice. I believe in him.
I'm a primary care physician at Massachusetts General Hospital, and I teach medicine at Harvard Medical School. Yeah, the recovery process off of opiates is awful. First of all, you're physically addicted, and it's miserable to come off the opiates.
How accessible is recovery in the city?
It's good. There's a very good support system. Everyone I knew growing up, all the older people, I watched either die, end up in prison, or institutions. It even runs in my family.
Is that when you were growing up, when you were young too?
Yeah. I started seeing it when I was young.
What do you see as the way out of all this?
I know that the only way out of all of this is to do the right thing, make a step to change your life, and get sober.
You get addicted, your sort of emotional connection unfortunately becomes with the drug itself, and you sort of tune out other people. So the minute you take the drug away, you're very lonely, and you're just kind of stuck in this awful place where you're. And then third of all, you're dealing with all the chaos that you've created in your life. I think some people are lucky, but most people create quite a mess.
Like my mother's in addiction,
Marty from Harvard, kid.
Absolutely.
Wicked smart.
First public college in the country or university.
These colors don't run.
Harvard, baby. Yeah. Cambridge, Massachusetts, Harvard professor. They do a lot of work out here, man. They got good lawyers, medical schools.
Massachusetts is all about meds and eds. We got the best medical and best education.
I never heard that put
Straight
like
up.
that. Meds and eds, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Best schools, best hospitals.
Absolutely. A lot of firsts out here too.
She's like the most important person in my life. I can be there for her, be around her, and I know that if she's in active addiction using, I can't change her or make her better. You know, you have to want it on your own.
I am it.
And it's like, it seems like such a tough situation too, because even if you want it, I don't think people want it bad enough until they're actually forced to get sober, whether it's like, you know what I mean, getting locked up or so. It's like you got to reach a pretty bad bottom. And unfortunately, some of those bottoms are so far of a bottom, they don't make it out of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's a tricky thing.
And I can relate to, most people, it's like they wait until they literally hit rock bottom to start climbing up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, and I
see
get
it.
it. And speaking of first, bro, I don't know if you heard, they just did a pig transplant out here in Massachusetts. They took, I don't know if it was a kidney or something from a pig, and they put it into a human being. It was only like the second time it was ever done, but it was done in Harvard or Cambridge.
Yeah, I think the first one they did, the dude might have ended up. I think the kidney went bad or something. And he died, or did he have to get another one?
A kidney, but it was something.
I think it was because my dad's on dialysis, right?
Okay.
So he was kind of paying attention to that. He's on the list
was
for
successful.
Yeah,
but, I don't know how it's gonna play out in the long run, like you said.
yeah. I wonder if it's the same. You said that was the second one, so I think the first one might have. Something might have. I don't know if the dude died or if he had to get another liver anyway, or kidney rather.
US, but I'm sure there was a few. I think there was a few in other countries.
That's crazy. I mean, that's just, I don't know. That's
Alcoholics Anonymous. Shout out to all the fellowships out there that's helping people change their lives. My father had this disease, because we do believe that this is a disease, and got to a point where he was sneaking drugs out of my stuff. And one day I found him dead in the house. I had to smoke crack to deal with life. I had to use dope to deal with life.
I remember he told, I knew this story, man. It's
this is
very unfortunate.
Very controversial take. Me and Keith always go back and forth debating about this, but I truly believe it's a epidemic. It's definitely it's definitely terrible, but I don't believe it's a disease. I do believe it's a choice. That's just my personal opinion, though. I know that's going to be controversial, but that's my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's choices can lead to diseases as well.
Well,
I mean, you choose to
smoke
you choose to smoke a cigarette, right?
Yeah, that it don't make it a disease. You can't
No,
tell that
but
kid
you-
that dying from cancer just because you like to do drugs. You and him get the same thing. It just don't. It don't. In my eyes, it ain't the same.
No, so the way I was saying it is like the smoking isn't a disease, but it causes the disease. So you made a choice to
and just
smoke.
like if you're out there doing heroin, you're most likely going to end up with hepatitis C, some kind of disease, or you know, potentially, respectfully, hopefully not, but it could definitely lead to a disease. But doing the drug itself, to me, is the choice.
The first time, I think it is.
Right.
You know, I think after the addiction sets in, I mean, there's still choices that have to be made, but there's a lot that's going on in the brain there that, you know, obviously we don't even know.
Of course,
a fraction of the
this is just my
percentage.
opinion. I just been standing on it for years. I'm gonna stand on it, but
Well, you notice how he had said that. He
Right.
said, "I believe," right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
but
mean, you
I-
can't
I
really
see
argue
it.
with someone's
I'm
beliefs.
not coming from an ignorant place. Like I said, I lost my brother, my cousin.
No, I know that, but you
all
said the
my-
same thing.
My mother,
that you
my
believe.
father, right?
You
my
didn't try to
mother.
impose it
Yeah,
as
no,
a fact.
of course,
You said
no.
this is my
That's just
belief.
my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's what I
But
meant.
I do see a lot of addiction, and I do see how terrible it is. That's why I call it like an epidemic or something more. Like, I think that's a better word for it. I just don't like the word disease, because you got innocent people out here that never chose to do nothing dying from real diseases. That's just my take on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's also choices that come with poor lifestyle, and you could eat horribly, and those choices lead to a disease
Yeah, it could
of
lead to a
diabetes.
disease,
Yeah,
right. But doing drugs is a choice.
right? Yeah, doing it, but I think the addiction is deeper than that.
But now I'm stealing from my mother. I'm stealing from my kids. And the craziness that I did to get the next one, jumping in cars while they're still running, only to find that there's a baby in the back. I'm playing with my life now just to get high or steal something from someone's car I haven't used since 2019, August 3rd. For anybody out there watching this, man, and seeing the reaction.
That's Tom Brady's birthday. I only know because it's somebody else that's
Shout
really
out
close to
Tom
me.
Brady.
That's their birthday too, but I don't want to put them on blast.
Reality of what's really going on. Nobody wants to be in this situation. We all looking for a way out, and that's why it's never go back.
death of needles. Like I could get tatted all day, but I can't go to the doctor and get blood work done, like syringes, because I seen my brother overdose in front of me. That's why I was scared straight. I never did no hard drugs. That's why I never got into no hard drugs, because I've seen my brother die in front of me and then pump him back to life. You know what I mean? And the first thing he did when he woke up, he was heated that he was on E, and when he threw the TV out the window and went out and copped a bag and got high. Right after they just brought him back to life and knocked-caned him, he woke up and went out and copped. So that scared me straight. So I'm not ignorant to the you know, the horrible lifestyle that comes with it. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with it my whole life.
Well,
But
there's
that's
a
only gonna
difference
do
from
one or two things. My cousin, he copied and went that route like his father, and me, it scared me away, and I did the opposite. I
Right.
was always hustling. I never was indulged, you know.
Yep. And I mean, you definitely are very knowledgeable about it, and but it's different too, being an observer as opposed to,
course.
you know, if we had somebody in here that was
Right.
actually in
Can't judge a
recovery
man
and
till you
was an
walk in that
addict.
man's shoes.
Yeah, absolutely,
And
man.
when you do, you shall be damned too. You know,
Bro, life is hard, bro. Life is hard for everybody. That's why, you know, I try not to judge anybody, and you know, as long as you're not hurting other people,
right,
or messing with their life in a way that, you know, hurts them, then you know, I don't judge, man. Life is tough. You got to do what you got to do.
Facts.
And sometimes we make poor decisions because it's just life cause stress, depression, whatever it may be, man.
Cold world, bundle up, scandalous world.
Yeah, let's go spring.
Two of my uncles and my cousins is out here right now. I'm hoping I can run into them. I'm basically right now spreading love through food.
How much did you go out of pocket to make this happen?
500.
So how do you fund all this?
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
People give to me, so I give back.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. This is you know, God sent right here. What she's doing, this is awesome.
Yeah, big ups.
And what kind of impact you see, or what kind of interactions you have with people that are feeling cared for, maybe for the first time in a week or a month or a year?
As long as somebody smiles. You hungry? No, baby, this is free.
You moved out here from Florida?
Yeah, I've been out here since 18, started using dope. My kid's mother first started using needles. I never used a needle in my life, bro, till she hit me.
Hey, what's up?
Motherfucker, where you been to?
I think you locked out.
He said, I've been locked up. That's my dude.
The most common response out here when you ask somebody, where you been? I've been locked up.
You know, locked up, rehab somewhere, man. Next time I want somebody to be like, man, I was just overseas somewhere, you know.
Yeah,
That's
I was serving. I was on a yacht.
It's one of those
I
things.
was on a yacht in the ocean, kid.
I remember being back in the day. I'd be dressed up like just wearing nice clothes. People like, where you going, court?
Yeah, same thing, yo. You know what's crazy, right? Every time I clean up nice, I like to wear my black dress pants, my leather Italian shoes, stuff like that, my button ups. But every time I clean up nice, I'm wearing my dress clothes. It's like someone automatically assumes court or wake.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, oh, it's my court clothes, it's my wake clothes. And back in the day, that's what you called them, my court clothes.
Never fails.
Facts.
You gotta get your ass back in treatment, man.
I'm home for
I'm going tomorrow. For real, go. I didn't even recognize you.
That's something you hear a lot, man. Shout out to this man. I hope he gets himself right.
Yeah, tomorrow will never be here. You know what I mean? It's only now.
There is no tomorrow.
It's one. Life is one big now, baby.
So it's really encouraging to see, like, even when you dive into the weeds, that one of the first things we jump into is people that are actively giving back and working to help make this place better. So we got this lady here that set up the food. We have Exit Fame, who every single day is in the trenches trying to help people, bring them to recovery. What got someone to a place that they started off as a cute little healthy baby to someone on the street? And that's part of the mystery that we're unraveling. We're going to go to something that we haven't really experienced, which is a crack house. I thought crack was a relic of maybe the 80s and that with fentanyl had been dying out. But it turns out it's still alive and well here in Boston and probably more cities than I know about. What's kind of crazy, we're driving through a wealthy neighborhood. We're only 10 minutes from the spot. And it just goes to show you're never really that far away
from where it goes down. For context, there's kids on a playground. Like outside, it's very normal and family-like, and inside there's crack. Yo, we're outside. What's up, bro? Good to meet you.
Alright, you here with Chef Twin. We're gonna show you how to turn this into a cookie.
Reminds me of what was that show, Drugs Inc?
Yeah,
When they
yeah,
were doing
yeah.
that?
Back on History Channel, I think
With
it was, or
Vice?
Nat Geo, National Geographic. They had that, but that was crazy. But yeah, man.
If it's selling drugs, so
Should we give like a trigger warning or something like that? Hopefully nobody
they
gets
get it
triggered by
blurred out.
seeing
Yeah,
this.
they get it blurred out.
12. I learned how to chef when I was like 16.
What do you think about the risks of this business?
There's always a bunch of risks, but that's what comes with it. You gotta take risks to get rich. That's my motto.
Is there such thing as secondhand high just from cooking it?
If you guys wanna this is around the time where it'll start doing that. But if you can see, it's dried up.
Covering his shit, yo. Tommy ain't trying to start tweaking out here in Boston. Tommy being careful. Where's the shiesty? Where's your shiesty?
Do you ever feel bad for the fiends?
Not really. I actually love my fiends too. I don't be feeling bad though. I feel like whatever you're consuming is on you.
When you look at Mass Ave and all the people outside on the street, what role do you feel like you play in all of that?
I'm there for them. They're gonna get it one way or another. I'm just helping them out, making it easy for them.
In the last 7 days, how much money would you say you've made doing this?
Probably like 4,000. Not too crazy.
Have you ever lost a client?
Yeah, I have actually. She got high in front of her. She just kept getting high, kept getting high. Just kept buying, until she ran out of money. When she ran out of money and I seen that she was like, I left. Like the next day, 2 days later, we got the call saying that she was dead from my other fiend.
Not every scene was able to fit into this video. So to see a treasure trove of inside access, to see things you can't find anywhere else on the internet, click my Patreon link. It is in the description.
Shit got real.
Good morning, everybody. It's 7:30 here. We're up early to see what the methadone clinics look like right now. Apparently there are lines around the corner. This is when everyone gets their dose of methadone. We want to see what that's like. Opioid withdrawals are often so intense that they stop people from even trying to detox. But instead of enduring the agony of going cold turkey, many users turn to the synthetic opioid methadone. While some say it's just another drug for users to get hooked on, others celebrate methadone's ability to reduce substance cravings and withdrawal symptoms. And that's why you see...
To give context, they on the streets, growing up anyways, I'd hear my mother refer to methadone as liquid handcuffs. And Suboxones I call zip ties, because it's like you're still tied. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, with the methadone too, you
It's
can't even
better than doing heroin or Fetty, but you know what I mean.
Well, even if you want to go like on vacation,
That's
if
what I'm saying, you're still tied. You can't do much.
Yeah,
You
if
can't
you're
leave the country, you can't.
Yep.
You know,
So
you're
if
limited.
you leave the state, you gotta like line up with a clinic down there. So that's what I mean. It does tie you down, man. But hey, whatever's keeping people alive,
Right.
that's all I want, man. That's all I want. I want people to be okay.
See all these people lined up here early in the morning at these methadone clinics. For some, it's their lifeline to recovery. About what time does the methadone clinic line start? 5 a.m. in the morning. So people are up early. So people are wondering, does methadone help the problem or hurt the problem?
It helps the problem. Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? What time do you guys get up and get ready to get in the line?
I get up anywhere from like 6 to 9 when there's no line.
When you first receive a dose of methadone, how do you feel after?
So it takes about 15 minutes for it to kick in, but after it kicks in, I feel like just relaxed, more or less.
The same, normal.
Like, is there a high or a buzz to it?
No buzz.
So would you say it helps your life?
Definitely, it honestly saved my life. I've been on drugs on and off for 10 years. I tried Suboxone, Sublocade, what's the other one? Vivitrol, all the shots.
Yeah.
And I've noticed methadone's the one that really helped me the most.
Look a little fucked up or they're slurring their words like that. Methadone still hits. To them, it doesn't feel like nothing, but to an outsider looking in, they're obviously intoxicated. But what it is when you mix it with the benzos, that's the recipe for disaster. So it's a dangerous game, man.
Those Easter baskets.
That's xylazine. That's what xylazine does here.
That's from xylazine?
Yeah, it's all from xylazine. My head too. See how it's all.
Yeah, no people not sniffing to get it.
Yeah, that's what that's from too. I had one point with my shin bone here, right here, was showing through my skin, right here.
Oh.
And it's gotten to get that way again anyway. But this
disease right there.
This is from xylazine. The back here, these cuts. This one here, I could put my finger through before. But yeah, a lot of holes in that. See how this is all in here, like
How much did a rough childhood play a part in where you are today?
Huge. I went through the whole Catholic priest thing, and I will say that was the biggest thing that made me want to use. I got started when I was 10. My brother was 5 years older. He got me selling weed by 10. By 12, I was smoking crack and doing dope.
Where were your parents in all of this?
Sheesh, I thought I was a bad influence as a big brother. Golly.
Too busy to give a fuck about us. And my father just beat the shit out of us every day. And my mother kind of wished she never had us. She said it all the time. And she didn't even cry when my brother got murdered after he did 12 years in Walpole. She didn't cry at his funeral. I miss my brother every day.
Addiction has to do a lot of times with like untreated trauma or untreated anxiety and depression in your life. I mean, these people need mental health care. I don't know how these.
It's always some underlying issue that led to,
right, trauma-based childhood. That's why when he said, "How'd you got?" How much did this take? Have affected from your childhood? I almost laughed with the dude because I grew up in the projects. My father was in prison. There was nothing but dope dealers, crackheads, crack dealers, you know what I mean? It was either you're gonna be a consumer, like a hustler, or a buyer. So it's like there was only a few options, you know what I mean? There was dudes out there with nice cars and women, so it was easy for me to make that choice. And everyone out there is nodding out, fiend out.
Yeah, you're already around it. Yeah.
So I never went that route, and I went the hustling route, but that only ends you up in trouble and end up getting arrested. So it's just a trap.
These people manage to do it. If they're living on the streets, no health insurance, no job, no supportive community, we've really got to meet them where they are. These people are people. Some of these are like the nicest, greatest people. A lot of them just had like really bad trauma or really bad losses in life or just bad luck. Getting them on medical therapy is the first step.
But yeah, absolutely. But it's just crazy too how, obviously I feel like you're definitely more likely to engage in that type of activity if you're around it and grow up around it. But you do see people who come from perfect homes, man, that find their way into addiction.
They choose it, they choose that, and it's actually a scientific fact. Even if you don't indulge even if you don't indulge yourself, just being around that, or even being around people that commit crime, if you're not a gangster or a criminal, you're more likely to end up in trouble or end up shot at or whatever, just being around it. So be careful who you associate yourself with. If you're trying to live a certain life, watch the company you keep.
That goes to that saying too. You stay at the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. You know what I mean? Eventually,
Yeah, and make sure they're not going to overdose. Get them on Suboxone, Methadone, but you have to get people housing. It's very difficult to stay in stable recovery if you don't have a stable place for housing.
What resources are out there to help you on your journey?
Oh, I can go into a program where people got mad drugs and just do them in there.
She's keeping it a buck, bro. She's like, you fucking go get in a program and just do mad drugs there, kid. She sounds like every other chick on Mass Ave, man. No disrespect.
There is no help.
So the biggest misconception is that we have these happy hedonists roaming around, whereas the people who are addicted are the most miserable people on the face of the earth, and they desperately need our help, care, and attention.
After you smoke crack, you get resin and you get a push. And unfortunately, this is this little bit will get you going and turn into a day of a devil chase. We're sitting here interviewing, but this is not something that's to be glorified. This is a disease that we're facing, and it's a mental trap. Unfortunately, this is what crack cocaine and drugs do to you. For anyone who's watching this, I would say, if you're not doing drugs, don't do them. But if you're doing them, do them the best, the safest way you can, and just try to stay conscious and stay strong, and eventually you'll get through it.
So, what's the penalty if a
glorifying it and making sure she put that out there?
Absolutely,
we're definitely not glorifying none of this.
cop sees this?
Nothing.
For context, we were across the street from a jail where inmates were cleaning up garbage and cop cars lined the street, and these users were openly using drugs without any concern for being caught.
Anywhere else?
Well, I mean, first of all, at a jail, it's COs there. They're not police. Then they're not gonna arrest you anyway. But
there's so many people on these streets. It's just filled with people doing drugs, and they honestly they're focused on crimes and other things. They ain't really sweating them. They're driving right by them. That's what Mass and Cass, Mass Ave, Methadone Mile is like. It's like Boston Skid Row, if you will.
I swear, this is like a zone for where this is allowed.
We're literally next to a sheriff, and are you worried at all with having the open stuff?
No, I would never hit you. Don't worry, I'm precision with that thing.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. My name's Maddie, bro.
Nice to meet you. Here, walk and talk with me. We're doing.
Right there, Maddie. So big shout out to Maddie, the W Number podcast. He's in the other room. We was just chopping it up with Maddie. He was actually gonna come in and do this video with us, but he's working on a video himself. So big shout out to Maddie. That's our guy right there.
yeah, the W Number podcast. Make sure you subscribe to it and look him up on Instagram and everything too, man. He's a great kid. He's got a great story, man. Did a lot of time, a lot of time in isolation. I think a decade, close to a decade, man. So total, but yeah, absolutely.
Doing a Methadone Mile documentary.
Exit, what's up, brother? See all the big hits out
right
here.
here.
Congratulations. Yeah, man.
Sober House.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
This brings people from all over New England straight to Boston, the Methadone Mile. You got people from Massachusetts, you got people from New England, different parts of Mass, all over New England, but they all, they flock to certain areas, whether it's Lowell, Lawrence, or Boston, or Mass Ave and Mass and Cash, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They all find their way here or there.
I heard. This shit's wild out here, bro. So that's like a common thing, right? You'll see that all day.
That's what's up, Tommy.
I want to run it back a little bit too.
See all the big hits out
right
here.
here.
Congratulations.
On
Yeah,
him.
man. Yeah, thank you, bro. This shit's wild out here, bro.
There it is. Make sure you give him a follow and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, the W Number podcast. Let's go.
So that's like a common thing, right? You'll see that all day, every day. You see how it is.
Tell me about, do you have a story with recovery or addiction?
Yeah, I did 17 years in prison, bro. I was in the max for 17 years. I started getting high up there doing dope. When I got home, I was clean for about a year. And then
Your addiction started in prison?
Yeah, I shot dope for the first time in prison. It's crazy, right?
How hard is it to get in prison?
Your deal is next door. You know what I mean? They'll cuff it to you, do whatever.
So as a former user, taking away the tents, does that help the situation or hurt the situation?
Bro, in my opinion, they took people out of a secluded area and put them right on Front Street, bro.
Just hours ago, we saw plenty of tents and plenty of crowds out at Mass and Cass. We did talk with the mayor. She did say the city is making progress, but agrees more needs to be done. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says things are better than a year ago with more people in permanent.
Scandalous right now, man. There's a lot going on, but I don't get into politics, but I see it all over the place,
All I know is she want to fuck with the woo. Recipes
And
pop.
transitional housing.
It's not the same as where we were a year ago with fortified encampments and people who have been truly.
I know y'all gonna destroy her in the comments. I guess let her have it.
But I think getting rid of the tents was a bad move. They're gonna be there regardless. You ain't moving nobody, but they're trying to just slightly make them discomfortable. You know what I mean?
I mean, if they're not placing them anywhere,
right? Either help them get in a homeless shelter, or it's kind of like what they do in New York when they make the benches and everything impossible to sit on and make it sharp or weirdly shaped where you can't really get comfortable. It's crazy, bro.
it's really just addressing a symptom of a problem. You're not addressing the actual problem.
Yeah, you're putting a Band-Aid on it.
You know?
They treating it.
Residing on the streets for years at that point.
And for the most part, I feel like these people are harmless, bro. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of, you know, mixing it up with the
Where do you
drugs.
put folks like this? What do you do with guys like that?
Man, it's hard, bro, because they go to the hospital and they'll kick you back. If you don't say you're suicidal, they're kicking you back out on the streets.
When I meditate, I inhale through my nose. In the streets, I exhale crack smoke and negativity through my mouth. Money feeds your ego. Integrity makes you the man of the house. I'm not from Milwaukee, but since 13, I was chasing them bucks. Being mentally locked in is better than being physically locked up.
We're out here at Bedrock in front of
One more time, big shout out to Mathematics.
a recovery center. And we're going to talk to a guy that just hit 8 years sober today, and also show you inside a facility that someone might come to start that journey of recovery and sobriety. Tell the people who you are and why today is important.
So I'm Mathematics. I'm a recovering alcoholic or an addict, recovering,
Mathematics.
Just want to leave that. Motivated by Mathematics. Make sure you give him a follow.
gangs to get money and stuff in the streets. And then now today, I'm also recovering from low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-doubt, also addiction and alcoholism and criminal thinking. And so today I celebrate 8 years of recovery. And what makes me in recovery is because I work a program that's a thinking and a personality change.
What is your role in this facility?
So I'm a group specialist, and then I'm also an alum.
And this shows you too, man, like addiction, it doesn't care about what color your skin is, where you're from, man. Anybody could get it. You know what I mean? Like the chicken pox.
I'm not coordinator, I do community engagement. So I get people back into the facility if they need help.
You just got to surrender. You can do it. You already did it for 8 months, so you know you can do it. You just got to give yourself another shot.
Remember I met you over the tent?
Yes. You got this.
So pretend you just found me on Mass Ave. What am I going through today?
All right, so the first thing that would happen is you would come and do an intake inside of here. There'd be like a nurse. You get like some toiletries. And this is where they do the intake. They ask you like what you're detoxing from, a whole plethora of questions. And then the nurse clears you to go upstairs to either residential, if your urine's clean, if you're stable. But if you need a detox, you got to go to detox for up to 8 days.
Seeing how nice this place is, it's hard for me to imagine choosing to stay in the street over coming here.
Yeah, but there's a mental obsession, and the mental obsession is so strong that
He's always so articulate. I love the obsession, the mental obsession. That's a great way to put it.
Also the way he broke down what he was going through and healing from was very complex.
A mental obsession.
Yeah, I love listening to this guy.
It's a persistent, reoccurring thought that doesn't respond to logic or reason.
First of all, you're physically addicted, and it's miserable to come off the opiates, and that lasts for weeks. And then there's a psychological component. It's very difficult to get off opiates. When you get addicted, your sort of emotional connection, unfortunately, becomes with the drug itself, and you sort of tune out other people. So the minute you take the drug away, you're very lonely, and you're just kind of stuck in this awful place.
So it'd be logical and reasonable to say that. But when that mental obsession, the grips of addiction are on you, it's all about the next one. We put this in front of our families, in front of our mothers, in front of our kids. I'll overdose. I'll rip the IV out my arm, and 2 minutes later, I'll go call the dealer and get more of the stuff that almost just killed me. No fear. You can't scare an alcoholic or an addict. So I would come down to this methadone clinic, get my dose, and then after you get your dose, and then you walk up this way. And when I would start walking up this way, it would be to like sell pills, either buy some crack. Sometimes I would get high over here behind these trailers. So this is the infamous McDonald's. Before you could sell drugs out there in the open like it's going now before COVID, most of all the drugs were sold through the McDonald's right here.
What is the recovery rate? If they come in here for an 8-day treatment, what is the percentage chance they're gonna?
1 out of 10 make it to 30 days. 8 days isn't enough. Detox is grammar school, then 30-day treatments, high school, then inpatient, like 2 or 3 month treatments, college, and IOP 5 is like master degree. IOP 3 is like PhD, and then going home right after detox is like trying to get a master's and a doctorate at the same time. So you're trying to go home with a grammar school education, but you're trying to pass doctorate, master's degree level classes, and that's why we have 13 alcoholics and addicts dying every hour.
Does harm reduction, does it help people or does it enable addiction?
So I had a bad vision of harm reduction before, but I think now the scope is we'd rather have the person alive on harm reduction than pass away. My only thing with harm reduction is most people get on it, but they struggle to get off. Most addicts and alcoholics, we only know how to start doing drugs and alcohol, but we don't know how to stop. So this is my office.
You got an office, man?
Yeah.
What is it like for your family and
Brought
friends
up
seeing you?
before,
back-
like when they were giving away free crack pipes in Boston and needles, etc., stuff like that. And a lot of people look at it like, you know, they're enabling people, but a lot of people they're making it safer as far as disease and trying to save life. So it's
Absolutely.
a double-edged sword. You know, it depends what you take on it, but I understand.
Back in the day, hustling, taking, using to, he has Post-it notes on his computer.
Oh, my mother's really proud of me. You know what I mean? She can sleep good at night. My kids are proud of me. I went from being a deadbeat dad to now I raise my daughter full time. Camp, after school programs. We spend time together. She comes to all my events. She's in the bulk of my videos. So it's just like, you know, I went from being a neglectful father to actually now being a nurturing father.
To uncover the origins of Methadone Mile, we brought together a powerhouse of Boston legends. From Millie's, the rapper who's putting Massachusetts on the map, to
Another Cambridge guy. Shout out Bean Shooter
Shout out
right
to
there.
Bean Shooter. Shout out to Millie's, Cambridge,
Lowell, Massachusetts. Big shout out to Bean Shooter. Met him for the first time in person yesterday. He was here. It's so funny how he gets the like you see how he gets content.
Yeah.
And we've been out here, you know, plenty of times. And of course, the one time he's out here, he sees the guy getting thrown up against the thing with
he
the
got
cops.
content.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually,
he attracts it. Yeah.
You know what's crazy, man? Big shout outs to Bean Shooter. That's my guy. Salute. My brother Bobby actually did time with Bean Shooter. My father as well, but my brother Bobby B, he knows very well.
Yeah, if people don't know the story, I'm sure they'll get into it a little bit. But you know, guy, obviously he's got his mugshot on his t-shirt, and he goes, he's a funny guy, he's a great guy. He goes viral on TikTok, Instagram, and all that stuff, and he's on YouTube as well. So make sure you check him out.
Bean Shooter, a former addict and frequent flyer to prison, and now a guy who transformed himself and became an entrepreneur, comedian, and a source of inspiration for those in recovery. Together, we chartered a boat and sailed towards the remains of the missing Long Island Bridge, a key piece of infrastructure that we believe holds the key to understanding how Methadone Mile came to be. So, fellas, we're right by Long Island and Quincy. Tell me what this island means to you in your journey.
As far as I go, you know, I was always going out.
Mickey and Dickie Ward, you know, shout out to Mickey.
Shout out to Quincy, South Shore. So Quincy is pretty much borders Boston to the south, for those who don't know, right next to Dorchester.
There to detox in Long Island or Andrew House Recovery on the island, which you could go out there to detox.
Somebody in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the same island where the old Casa Island DYS was? Because I remember dropping off someone there. But I'm not sure. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
I remember my godfather escaping from Dare Island. Off of Winthrop. It's crazy.
They used to drive you over the bridge. They used to have these buses at night, and all the homeless people would line up, and they had a fenced-in area, and they'd bus them all over here at night, and then in the morning, you know, you'd go back. And then when they closed the island, they closed the detoxes, and the homeless were scattered all about, and they all ended up down on Mass Ave.
Tommy, this is where we can dock up right here. So we're pulling up on the dock, the Long Island, Quincy. From what I understand, it's entirely abandoned. So we're gonna check it out. We're gonna investigate.
Like some Shutter Island type shit.
We might have to hop a couple fences.
Bean Shooter's the man.
This is where we can dock up right here. So we're pulling up on the dock, the Long Island, Quincy. From what I understand, it's entirely abandoned. So we're gonna check it out. We're gonna investigate.
Like some Shutter Island type shit.
We might have to hop a couple fences. Boston PD, you guys can come get me in Milwaukee, all right?
Always. You like sneaking?
Back behind these trees and all the way down, we had sober living homes, recovery homes, juvenile detention facilities.
Okay,
And this is where people would get back. They'd be going through detox. They go bus back from Boston to here. And so you had a contained population that weren't out on the street. There's a ripple effect. There's a domino effect. one little thing leads to another, and it's crazy how one little bridge has led to hundreds and hundreds of people on the street.
Hey, dope shirt. Hit RIP to the mainstream media. Independent media is where it's at. Make sure you subscribe to us, man. Make sure you subscribe, Ronnie Blue Eyes. And yeah, sub to Tommy G.
Which has led to family members going missing, people living in tents on the street, and all because one little bridge started the domino effect.
It's a strange feeling being back here, you know. It just reminds me of, you know, being dope sick and going to detox, and it seems like another lifetime when I was coming out here all the time.
You think we're the only people on this island right now?
No, there's got to be someone else out here.
Ski! Ski! It feels almost like we're watching the decay of America in slow motion. I mean, we're this rich, prosperous country, but we have these cities with all these addicts on the street. We have abandoned buildings with wooden boards over the windows. It's almost embarrassing because when most countries think of America, they don't think of this.
Everybody says we want to help addicts, we want to do this. And me opening sober homes, I found this firsthand until it goes into your neighborhood. Then yeah, we want money for addiction, just not in my backyard.
To dig deeper on what the path of sobriety looks like, we head with Bean Shooter back to his stomping grounds of Lowell, a city near Boston, to visit his home and his sober house to speak with the fellows there and get their insights on a path to a drug-free life.
That's my prison mugshot, actually.
What'd you go away for this one?
That one was trafficking over 100 pounds of marijuana.
That was when you did business with the cartel?
Yeah.
Did that make you nervous?
No, not really. They were good to me. They're good people. So when I got custody of my daughter, it was only 2 bedrooms, me and my father, and that was my bedroom. I had to make a bedroom up here, which is like a prison.
Trump labeled them all terrorists. I guess the cartel is now officially terrorists.
So this is how I live. Tommy don't believe it. Look at the obligatory ice pick next to the bed. This is when I'm going to climb down the ladder to piss at night. I'm a real fucking Viking.
You really piss that every
Sometimes I have to, Tommy. You know? Sometimes I have no fucking choice.
Over your lifetime, how much time did you spend in prison?
That's so funny that he was
so many people, man.
It's just so funny. Like I feel like I would definitely get rid of that if I was having bitch.
He don't give a fuck.
Owning it does go.
And I said a lot. About 13, 14 years.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah, but on the installment plan. Oh, this is my first sober house I bought. Want to see the house inside?
Yeah.
That's me. It's my old.
Doing time like a gentleman since 1985.
Yeah, too.
Was part of your journey getting sober in a sober house like this?
Oh, I've been in a bunch of them, but when I got sober last time, I was in Deerfield Beach, Florida, and I was in a sober house, and I remember getting in there, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's 6 guys in here paying $150 a week. That's $900 a week. That's fucking $3,600 a month in this little fucking ranch, right? Because I've always been a numbers guy, you know, selling drugs and doing whatever. And that was when I first got the idea. Wow, you make money and you're helping people. Like anybody will tell you that's a recovering addict, helping another addict helps me.
So guys here, how long have they been sober for?
Everyone's different. I mean, I got a guy who's been here almost 4 years. You know, I got some guys who got out of detox a month ago. So and then sometimes people relapse. I had a guy recently who just relapsed. I saw him and I knew he was high. You know, they can try to lie to me and I'm like, oh, I'll take a urine right now. And I'm just like, hey, listen, you already failed it. If you already failed the eyeball test, like I'm not even going to waste a fucking cup on you. And 99% of the time they'll be like, all right, you know. Recently, I came here just like this. We were right here on the porch, and Bundy went in. And I says, "Oh, go in and get so and so, Jason." And I heard him scream, "Get the Narcan!" And I'd been open 5 years. I'd never had anybody die in my house. And I ran in and I touched him, and he was ice cold. I just said, "You can put the Narcan away." You know, he's gone, and that sucked. The family came, and I had to talk with them. And the kid had been here a while, 2 years, and he became a friend. You know, with him all the time, and I felt guilt over it, like. I dropped the ball, and then I talked to his brother, and his brother said, yeah, I know he got high a couple of times. He'd been here so long, I was comfortable with him. I hadn't urined him for a couple of weeks, because usually at least once a week I'll urine you. And I felt like, you know, I kind of dropped the ball on that one. See someone die in the house, it sucks. So we try to keep that from happening again.
So Lopez, tell me, how far into your journey of sobriety are you?
Right now, I came here November 6th of last year, but my recovery is good. You know, it's been a struggle and a roller coaster.
How many days in are you?
Altogether, since last year, would have been 10 months.
Just driving around here, even a few blocks around here, there's a lot more people out in the park. I'd imagine if your number one goal is to be sober and then you're surrounded by people that are using 2 blocks away, 3 blocks away, does it make that journey difficult?
No, because sometimes, you know, when I leave out of here, I pray, I say, God, you know, just lead me in the right path. And I go from here straight to the recovery cafe. You know, I don't like to pass through the park today because they all know me. I know everybody from Lowell. And, you know, it breaks my heart just to see a lot of my friends on active addiction and I can't do nothing about it, you know.
How many people do you think you've lost to fentanyl?
I've lost a lot, over 30 at least. I've seen a lot of dead people in my life, man. A lot of faces that I'm always dreaming about. I mean, you get traumatized, man. Look at that guy's colors, blue and.
I got my old job back. I beat the case. They told me beat the case. You get your job back. Got my old job back. Just bought a car. First time in 15 years, about 20 years. I'm making moves right now.
Hey, never.
So basically, we had these big corporate companies like Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, pushing tons of this stuff out. Then people are starting to get that starts the addiction journey. None of them ever went to jail. None of them ever got in trouble. They're still very rich. And meanwhile, millions of Americans now are
ruined so many
struggling.
lives. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
They should be fucking hung by their balls. It's corporate greed.
Gentlemen, hey, I just want to say, I wish you guys the best on your journey. Thank you for sharing your story. Take care. It's honestly fucked up that Big Pharma can run amok, racking up billions in profit and leaving a trail of millions in misery in their wake. Also, a few top shareholders can pop a cork from their stupid yacht. I wish we had politicians that actually represented the people and protected Americans from companies that care nothing for their impact on the world, but only for their financial bottom line. But perhaps I'll address that in a future episode when one day this channel goes on an absolute fucking rampage exposing Big Pharma. And while we all are aware that some shadowy corporate villains are in our crosshairs, let's end this episode by celebrating the local heroes striving to make a difference. Exit Fame, Mathematics, and Bean Shooter. I have their Instagrams tagged in the description. Please blow them up with positive messages. And finally, to the people out there struggling to be sober, I'm rooting for you. You got this. I'll see you guys next week.
Scandalous world, man. Shout out to everybody in Massachusetts. Shout out to Bean Shooter, Mathematics, Tommy G.
Yeah, that was cool, man.
Exit Fame.
I don't think I watched that all the way through before,
so
so
this is the first time I wanted to give a raw reaction. So
absolutely, yeah.
glad I
So
waited.
yeah, big shout out to Tommy G, of course. Well, reacted to his content, so we're gonna link his channel and everything in the description. So make sure you give him a follow, sub, comment on the main video and tell him you got there from here. You know what I mean? Yeah. That we sent you. So yeah, man. I guess addiction, bro. There's a lot that goes into that, man, and it's it affects a lot of families. It terrorizes communities, and like I had started, in the beginning, just prayers and thoughts to everybody suffering. Rest in peace to all those that we lost at such a young age before they had a chance to even really live. And it's for y'all that that I'm doing this for. That we're out here
do this
for the people that we lost who don't have the chance to. So yeah, man. Go
Everybody
ahead, bro.
out there still struggling, keep your head up. Everybody, I still have loved ones that are going through addiction and alcoholism, and I wish everybody just keep trying, man. Keep your head up, stay up. It's a scandalous world. Bounce Back TV.
Remember, back. It is what it is, guys. What's next is always what you make it. Peace.
All my life I was told to do right. Stick around by my side if they want to test my life. Yeah, street kid. I was trapping long nights on the weekend. Shorty on me all